Welcome back. Okay, so looking at our mind map, just continuing on building out our home page and some of the stuff that we wanted to see on there, we're down here underneath the home page content. So we've been building some of this stuff out. So we're going to be going back and doing the rotator after. Popular product bar and some sale items, coupon page, and list coupons. Okay, those three elements that we had just underneath the rotator are taking care of that. Then we have a popular products bar, and so we're going to take care of that too. And then, of course, any of the other pieces of information that we need to make sure that we have on there, which just is organically happening because the template is giving us some new ideas. So that's what we're going to move on to, and we're going to continue building out our front page. So hopefully you have the front page of your site open, and you should be seeing something like this. This is our front page going to our main domain. And we've done these three in the last video. We've also done this, and we're going to go back and change these back to the icons that we're using. And going down here, we're going to be looking at, actually in this video, is going through, we're going to finish the rest of these and as well as set these back, okay? And that's what we're going to do in this video. And this video, we should actually be done the front page completely and have enough knowledge really to be able to do some of these other ones. We're going to be touching on a couple other things like FAQ, contact us, happy customers, and just a few of the elements there, and just touch into those, as well as making sure that we still have our privacy policy and our return policies done. And after we're done that, we should actually be done the majority of the pages of the website. Once we're done all that, then we can start doing this rotator and getting that done, and we can carry on. We're going to be almost finished this, so give yourself a pat on the back, because you know what, we've gotten pretty far. Hopefully you've gotten a feel for Visual Composer, which is really easy in the end. It is easy. There's a lot of options, but it's easy. And the good thing about it is if you make a mistake, you can always you can go back a version like I showed you in the previous video if something happens, or you can just reset the template, which really helps with adding new elements, maybe from another page onto this one that you don't want to create for yourself. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, let's just continue down now. So I'm going to come back to these later, and the reason why is because if I have to go to edit from the back end, then that way I don't have to redo these again. So I'm just going to leave them till last. Okay, and I'm going to go here. So it says top interesting, and I'm going to edit these. Now on my mind map, I had popular products. So that's what I'm going to attempt to do here. And so if you wanted to do that, or you can actually leave these elements the way you like it, maybe change this a little bit. So let's go ahead and click edit with Visual Composer, and let's edit this one. So I've got this selected here as an element. So we have this row, and this whole entire thing is one row of information. So there's actually multiple elements inside this row, and there's only one column housing these three elements here. So in this, the way it works is based on a grid system. Like you'll see, these are basically like grids. And so you can see how there's a column here, there's an inner column, and inner column. So information here is actually broken up by rows and columns, and then elements inside of columns. And you can also have multiple columns inside of inner columns, or inside of columns. That would be what's called an inner column. So we have one main column that's housing this block of information, and then inside that there's actually another inner row which houses three inner columns. This only has one column, and then just has three elements. Just wanted to double check, that are stacked on top of each other. This is how it all slides together when it goes into mobile devices. That's why they're separated by rows and columns, because these normally would just stack on top of each other when they're viewed on a mobile device or a device that has a viewport that's smaller than what you see here. Okay, and this viewport is smaller, and I've done it a little bit smaller so it's better resolution on the videos. But so we're going to be editing this one here, this top element, that is the title, and we're probably going to put in something like this. So I'm just going to erase this and put there. So popular products. Now that's going to line up with what I wanted in my mind map. And I'm hoping that I can be able to select the elements according to popular products, but that's what I want to put in there. I can always go back in here and change that if I don't have the immediate ability to do that with the given tools that I have in the system. So I'm just going to scroll down and make sure I have everything else in alignment here, and we're going to save the changes. So that's going to save this element here, popular products. Okay, and then I can change this text to browse a collection of our best-selling and top interesting products. So I can say our best-selling products. And that's probably a good word to use, best-selling, right? I mean, using words like selling and then having somebody click on the item hopefully will lead to more sales. Yeah, I mean, that's ultimately what we're looking for here, is the more high quality clicks and the more qualified traffic are going to your product, you want them, they're hopefully more likely to buy, and that's what you're looking for. So I'm going to save that. I already kind of like what was in there. Okay, and now I've edited these two elements here, and I also can edit this element here. So this is a new section. They're calling this section tabs. Now I can click and drag this around, and I could technically have put it on top. Oh, it's not going to let me do it. On top of there, but these elements are usually draggable. This is draggable. Click, I can drag it up and down below. So I could have done it like that, which doesn't look very good. But hey, maybe I want to have a cool little saying up here and then just popular products here and then have that below. You can do that. So that's a good thing about this click and drag system. And now I'm going to go down into this area here, and I'm going to click this little button here. And I'm going to look to see if there is some information that I can put in here that is going to make it very specific to best-selling stuff. So let's see if I can find that. So I have down here this one under product type thing. I have best-selling. I don't know why they have it best-sellings, but I guess perhaps somebody who doesn't have English as their first language probably set that up, but that's fine. The order is random. Okay, and so you can do here, and how many products do you want to show maximum? You have 6. Using -1 show all products. I don't recommend that, especially if you have a lot of products. That can really bog down your website's resources. So you just got to be careful about that. Okay, and you can change these, like product view color, dark. Remove spaces between lines. Like, you have different options here that you can try and test. And we're not going to put any other piece of information here like title, because we already have a title on here. Okay, and here's some extra ones. Slider speed, so you can change the speed of that. Probably is going to be in milliseconds, so before it changes, because it's going to automatically slide over and show you new products. It's probably in seconds or milliseconds, so you can play with that. I'm not going to. I'm just going to leave it default. You can also say autoplay. That's fine. And a number of slides and large screens. So this is technically considered a large screen. There's 4 on there. How many on notebooks? How many on a tablet? Portrait on mobile. So you can show it. It'll shrink down. So on a mobile phone, it'll show 2 products side by side. I think maybe 1 for mobile on that one, because then it just shows you 1 product per screen at a time, like when you're using your finger to swipe it. So it's good that it has these settings for us. Okay, and there we go. So one thing I just realized is some products had disappeared here, and that's probably because I don't have too many for best selling. So what I would recommend maybe doing until you've got some traction on selling your product is, and this is where flexibility needs to come into place, is that you have all your products showing maybe, and then at first, and then change this to, great products or something like that. And once you have some traction and some purchases, you can always come back here and then put popular products in, because then it'll show you ones that are commonly purchased down here. So I'm actually going to change this because I really haven't sold anything to something like best, or you can even list it to popular products. and leave it like that. And then once you start getting some traction, you come up down here and change the settings of this so it's actual products that sell in here that you'll want to see. Okay, so we've done that. This is pretty much done. The only other thing that I could do is maybe change the background here. And so there's some cool stuff that you can do to change the background. One thing is I can change the background or edit the row by clicking that. Okay, and I could also change the column background. But if I click on edit row, I have some more options here. So this one, I can stretch row and content, and what that'll do is it'll stretch the content all the way across the whole screen. Okay, and we're gonna leave this row. You don't want the height to be full screen because that could be a problem in this case. And let's say we want a parallax. Now what a parallax does is it actually has an image that goes in the background, and we can put a really subtle image in the background. So let's try that, okay? Okay, so we're gonna just add an image here, just dragging it from my desktop. And once that's saved in, now it is a megabyte, so I might have to add another one. Yeah, I add another picture here that's a lot less in size. It's only 123 kilobytes. So I'm just going to add that. You don't want big images. It takes a long time for people to load on their computer. Okay, so we save that. Okay, so here it is. Now, it doesn't seem to be doing much. I think it's not what I wanted or what I expected here. And what a parallax is supposed to do is sort of the background moves as you scroll. So I'm just going to edit this and just try a couple of different options here. So I'm just going to find where that setting is again. I think I had clicked on the wrong one here, so I'm just going to click, here we go, on the row settings, because that's where I put that background. So I just scroll down here, and I'm gonna just adjust this speed. And what that does is when you adjust a parallax speed, it actually resizes the image. Now I've done it really big by putting the speed up quite quickly, so that allows it to scroll much more. And so I'm just gonna adjust this down. So just go back to the setting here, and I'm gonna put 0.5. So that should bring the picture size a little bit down to where I want it. Okay, so now it's a size I want, but there's an issue here. Okay, so this white part of the background doesn't match with the background on where I've already set on the rest of the page. So I'm gonna have to change that. I'm gonna have to update the picture. So I'm going to update a picture that has the background to be a color that's closer, that's exactly the same as the main background of my site. So I'm just going to drag that one in there. And as you can see, it's going to be gray now. So I've just changed the picture so it's a gray on that background. And save that. Okay, now it looks like it's just part of the page. Okay, so now it's looking how I want it to look. And if you notice when I scrolled, it moves. All right, so we're gonna update that just now. Okay, so that bar says it's successfully updated at the top. Okay, and I'm just gonna refresh the page. So I've opened it here and I'm just gonna refresh it just to see what it looks like. And we're gonna scroll down and make sure it looks how we like it. And there it is. So it just sort of slides in behind those products there. I think that looks really sharp. So if I have some tackle or, fishing products, it might look good. Now I could have chosen a water that was a little bit more closer to fishing water, and this one is really fresh, but it looks good. So now we're going to work on this rest of it. So I'm done that previous one, and I'm going to change these elements here. So we're just going to edit again with Visual Composer. Wait for that to load. And we're going to scroll down to those elements. Okay, so I'm going to update these, and let's just change the text settings. And I'm just going to make it a little bit more relevant to what we're doing. Okay, so we offer many fishing supplies. Check out our different options, and see if we can find something, figure out something catchy. Okay, use. Okay, I'm just, there we go. Make sure I spelled it correctly. All right, and finally something to catch at the end here. To catch the fish of your life. And so what I'm going to do here, I'm going to save it. And maybe what we'll do is we'll bold this just to give it some extra oomph around what we want to kind of point out. So fishing supplies, catch the fish of your life. So I know this is not a thing on copy, but it helps bringing people a little bit more into exactly what you're trying to accomplish here. Okay, now I'm going to look to see what the settings are for the categories here. Now we will have some categories for fishing tackle because there's different or fishing supplies because there's different kinds. There's hooks and lines and all kinds of stuff like that. So we're gonna still allow this to happen. I'm just gonna go down here into the slider settings, and just on the mobile, I only want it to show one at a time. So it's nice. It slides in nice on a mobile device. Okay. So we're just going to change the row settings here. And what I'm going to do is just looking for the background setting here. I want to put the design options here. So what I want to do is just change the background color. And I want to make it slightly less than the background color that we have there. And what that does is it just gives some extra dimension. So there we go. We'll save that. Okay, now it's boxed in. You can see how the lighter color is boxed in on my row there. What I want to do is expand the row out to stretch. So I'm going to stretch that row out from end to end on the screen instead of it being boxed in. Now you might want it boxed in, but I like it stretched. So you can see the row stretched all the way, and now on the top and the bottom, I can see the bottom is really kind of close into those category boxes. So I'm going to go and we're just going to adjust. And what we want to do is adjust the padding. So here it has 5% of the viewport window. We want to have padding, let's say 2% of the viewport window, which is 2% of the size of the window. Okay, and what that does is it should give us some extra space down there. It's also going to look great on a mobile device. So there we go. There's some extra space on the bottom. What it did is actually pulled the contents up a little bit. So that should be perfect. So I'm just going to click on here, make sure that this is good. Excellent. I think it looks good. So we're going to make sure it's saved and close it. Now we're going to go down here, check out this. Okay, so the Instagram, this setting. So let's make sure we change this. So what I'm going to do, just now technically, I mean, I can delete these things, right? So I can delete that text. I can also go up here. Let's say I don't want Instagram. I got a whole bunch of other options I can put in this space. What you don't want to do is shrink your page too much where you barely have any elements on it. So you do want to have something there if you don't want to have, say, the Instagram. And maybe if I can find it here, the Twitter one, if I can find it. There we go. There's the Twitter one. Okay. And maybe I want to add a integration with Twitter. You can do that. Of course, you'd have to put in the information there for Twitter. And that can be a supplementary video that we can do later on down the road, is how to get Twitter connected. But I'm just going to close that and we're just going to delete it. I want to show you how that you could add another element there. So I'm just going to delete that. We're going to go back up. I'm going to utilize this Instagram thing. Now, if you don't have an Instagram account, it's not a problem. You can actually take, so I'm just going to take what was there, the example. I'm going to put in a hashtag fishing. That's just an example of, you can just put a subject in there. So if you don't have an Instagram account, you can just put a subject like fishing. You'd have to put the hashtag in front of it. Or you can put your own account. So let's let it refresh. All right, so it brought in posts in from Instagram. So it's brought a few in here, and for some reason it brought some hunting one in there, which I'm not a huge fan of. Let's see, it's not showing up here, so I don't know why I brought that hunting thing in there, but I'm not a fan of it. So that just what came in from Instagram. So that's one thing that if you did use the hashtag there, you kind of don't have much control what goes on your site, so you got to be careful on that. So see if maybe if I post 7 of them and it disappears, and doesn't look like it does anything. So I don't think it's going away. I'm just going to leave this here as an example, but you know, again, you don't have control over it that way. So the best is if you opened an Instagram account and you just put your username instead of that hashtag fishing there. All right, this blog section. Now, I don't really want this blog section in there. You know, you could if you wanted to have blogs there, but you know, this is really more of a brand e-commerce site. And we have a section for blogs, so you can move this stuff around or you can just delete it, and that's what I'm going to do. I could just click that delete column, so that gets rid of it completely, and the rest of this is static. So that's it. I mean, we're done updating this page, and so I'm going to click update, and that's it for the front page. So I want to make sure it says successfully updated, and we're going to close it and just check on it. Okay, and just scroll down, and everything is in the place that I want it to be. Perfect, and there we go. The Instagram post, and of course then the final bottom part. So that's it. Now what we want to do is update this these elements here now. So we're done everything else, so let's quickly do that. I'm gonna go back, and all we're gonna do is just edit in Visual Composer, the front end Visual Composer, not the back end one, because we know that it breaks there. So I'm gonna go and we're gonna copy these that we had saved earlier and just simply paste them in these fields and get that done. So I'm just gonna quickly go and do that. So I'm just gonna be on mute here while it does that. All right, we're all done. So that's it. We are done the front page. So now I'm happy with it, how everything looks. These pictures will come in when we do when we add products to it, as well as the category pictures. So we'll have to do that later when we get the product set up. And so the next thing we're going to do is the About Us page. So we're going to do About Us, and then we're going to do the rest of the pages. We'll see you in the next video.